Anonymous PL/SQL. We are going to briefly revisit what anonymous PL/SQL is, except in more detail. It is a procedure without a name. It is not stored in the database because it doesn't have a name, and therefore it is used only once. It obviously, because it's used only once, can only be executed once and thus cannot be executed again. The same thing the other way around. This is the very basic syntax for an anonymous procedure. You have basically an encapsulating block between the begin and the end. You have a declaration section at the top for variables. And you have PL/SQL statements in between, with an exception trap at the bottom. The exception trap applies to the begin-end loop that it is contained within. So as you can see in this example, we have an outside begin-end loop, but we also have an inner begin-end loop, as in the outside begin encapsulates the inner begin-end, and then the exception trap applies to the inner begin-end loop, not the outer one. And here are the exception traps. Essentially, it's showing you that the different traps apply to the different loops at the different levels. So now let's go back into SQL Developer, and we have a piece of sample code. It wants me to log in first. Well, I could fix that because I probably didn't store the password in the connection string, which I should have done. And to click the Save Password box. Save, Test, Connect. Open on the plus sign, paste my code in. What do I have here? Well, I have this thing to set up the output. I need to set the output to a specific connection, plus sign, enter there. And I have essentially a piece of unnamed PL/SQL code here. All it's going to do is going to output a count from 1 to 10. As you can see, if we scroll back here, we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just using DBMS output. Pretty simple. It's an unnamed block. Here I have an example from the data model that we use in this course. So first of all, let's look at this table. And as you can see, we have a bunch of rows in here, supporting Act 63, supporting Act 65, 66, so on and so forth. This is, again, an anonymous procedure, a procedure without a name. We simply go and select a bunch of data from a table, and we add it to another table. So what we're actually doing here is creating a thing called a cursor, which we will look at later. It allows you to plop the results of a SQL code statement into memory. Go and select shows where the act ID is this person here, and then we're going to select and add things as supporting acts for that particular show. And then we just run the block of code by putting the mouse anywhere in it and I hit Control and Return. You can also press the play button, and obviously it won't work there anymore because it's already added the data. But if we go back to the row count, we'll actually see that we now have rows 2 and 3 in there. So that's, again, anonymous stored procedures